California Heartland is made possible by the James G. Boswell Foundation, committed to sharing the stories and successes of California growers. Bank of America, Bank of Opportunity.
Funding provided in part by the California Farm Bureau Federation, proud publishers of California Country magazine. More information is available at californiacountry.org. And by the Almond Board of California. California almonds, loved around the world, grown in California's heartland. And by Real California Milk. This seal ensures your favorite dairy brands are made exclusively with Real California Milk. More information at realcaliforniamilk.com.
Coming up on California Heartland.
I had poor soil, I had very little space, and I'm thinking, you can't grow a diet on a fraction of an acreage in the city.
Meet the Pasadena family whose path to healthy living transformed their yard into a successful urban farm. And
looking at the gardens now, they almost look like they did over 100 years ago.
Visit a garden as notorious as the criminals who planted it. It's the softer side of the rock in full bloom at Alcatraz.
Trees can do it all. They add value to your home, they lower your electrical costs.
Plus, why planting a tree on one side of your yard can save you hundreds of dollars. From your backyard to the back country, in a field or on your family table, it's all about what keeps California moving and growing. This is California Heartland.
This is the tool of choice. Labor intensive, but I don't consider it work.
His own two hands in the soil. That's the way Jules Gervais likes it. Feeling the crop he's created on land no one thought was farmable, except for him.
My tool is a trowel, and that doesn't take up much space. And my feet walk down the beds of the between the beds, and they walk the front yard, and you really don't need that much space.
Space, or lack thereof, is actually the challenge for Gervais, because he lives on a residential street with no room to grow, just a mile from the busy streets and freeways of Pasadena. This city farmer is now doing the unusual. He's making a living off of his garden and turned the very little land he has from a typical suburban lawn into a lush cornucopia.
When I started this project, it was just basically for me, and it was a hobby. But I got serious about it when the genetically modified foods came out. Plus, in Pasadena, the food was costing a lot.
Okay, Jordy, here comes the greens.
For the last 8 years, Gervais and his 3 children, Anise, Justin, and Jordan, have challenged themselves to produce an abundance of food on 1/10 of an acre.
So far, we've produced annually over 6,000 pounds, so that's 3 tons of food. This year we're challenging ourselves to go for 10, grow for 10, we're calling it, and we're trying to get 10,000 on our 10th acre little urban farm here.
That's right, 3 tons of food created on less than an acre. To do this, both the front and backyards are utilized to grow 350 varieties of organic fruits and vegetables, which the family then sells to restaurants and catering companies.
All right, thanks.
I never thought that we would have a surplus. It was nice enough to feed your family, but when it kicks in, and we were amazed at how much we could produce here. We could actually make money in the city as farmers, which is an amazing, feat to think that you could be farming in the city on micro acreage.
To some, this is just a micro farm, but Jules claims this is a homegrown revolution and dubs him and his family eco-pioneers. They even call what they're doing on the farm a path to freedom, because his family is taking strides towards self-sufficiency.
So you're gonna get the eggs in?
Yeah, get the eggs. My dad's my inspiration. He's somebody I really would love to follow in footsteps because he's made quite a difference. And he's really, I thank him every day for what he's done for me as a child. It's not something my father's told me to do. He put me on the right path.
That path led them to find new techniques to help their alternative lifestyle, like creating biodiesel for their pickup truck.
We drive about less than 4,000 miles a year, so we use about 30 gallons a month. So that's all I have to make.
Jules says this transformation did not come easy. In fact, turning around their underused urban space was plagued with problems.
I looked at what I had, and I had basically, you know, it scared me what I had. I had poor soil, okay? I had very little space, and I'm thinking, you can't grow a diet on a fraction of an acreage in the city. The location was, you know, in the midst of a city, and I just couldn't believe I could do that. But I determined that I should give it a good try.
I think my dad, he did the front yard back in the 90s. He mulched it. I guess we thought it was a little nuts, but now I love what I'm doing, and I hope I'm doing this the rest of my life.
Dervais says looking back at previous generations has helped him become a smarter farmer.
This is changing it was changing my attitude of how much you can grow in such a little space. You know, there are techniques that you forget about, that people had kitchen gardens like this forever, food outside your back door. Well, we can't grow wheat fields, but we certainly can put a dent in our food bill by growing as much fruits and vegetables as we can.
We feel empowered that, we can know that with these two hands, we can make a life here on this earth. And we were put here to be stewards, so in a sense, it's our responsibility.
For these urbanites, their path to freedom has begun. And as the proud father leading the way, making his organic oasis in the city is the best way to ensure a better tomorrow.
When you do something worthwhile and you're on a mission, if you challenge yourself, the good works and good actions will come out and be evident, and then the change will happen all over.
Did you know that the Cornish game hen was developed back in the late 1950s? The young chicken is the result of a crossbreeding with various other chickens. They're mostly white meat and weigh less than 2 pounds. Not only do the hens taste great, they're healthy too. Each hen is loaded with 51 grams of protein and has only 295 calories. Food and lifestyle expert Laura McIntosh is bringing it home with a stuffed Cornish game hen with a guest chef from Hawk's Restaurant.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us back. Michael is up next. He is going to cook a great recipe, Cornish game hen. We like to do a lot with birds, but this is actually a Cornish game hen.
It is.
Okay. To start this recipe, Michael, what do we do?
Well, we're going to start by heating up some olive oil.
Okay. Turn up the fire a little bit. We got to turn up the heat. We're cooking.
That's right.
All right.
And we're going to start by adding some garlic.
Okay. And we love garlic. Garlic is flavor.
So we'll just get that going real quick.
Okay.
And then we're going to add the rest of our ingredients. Some nice chopped onion.
All right. Now this actually, you guys, this is a stuffed.
The stuffed Cornish game hen, yep. We're making a walnut bread stuffing.
Yeah, I like that. Walnut bread stuffing, okay.
And right now we're sweating out the aromatic ingredients.
And sweating it, we don't want to caramelize it or brown it. We just want to sweat it, correct?
That's right. We want to cook it with no color.
Cook it with no color. Okay.
Okay. And we'll add our celery.
Okay.
Get you a little salt and pepper here.
Okay. And do you always add salt as you go, Michael, just for that?
Yeah, we like to season in layers.
Okay.
So this way everything's nice and even when you're done.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we'll let that cook for about 5 minutes on a nice low heat.
Okay.
And then we're going to add our croutons.
Okay.
And so to that, we're going to add just a little chicken stock.
Okay.
We just want to moisten it. We don't want everything to get soggy, but we want it to be nice and moist.
Well, it smells delicious so far.
And we're going to let this cook for about 5 minutes or so.
Okay, that's our stuffing, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
So then we'll come over to our bird.
Okay.
And let me just put a glove on real quick.
Oh, yes. You really do need to be careful in the kitchen. Wear your gloves. Or if you're doing
Thank
this
you.
at home, then wash your hands, you guys. Make sure you wash those hands. Tell me when.
That looks good. This will ensure that we get a nice crispy skin.
Okay.
Put a little bit of oil on it. Okay.
A little pepper?
Yeah, just grind a little bit of pepper.
I like lots of pepper. I probably
Very
shouldn't,
good.
but okay.
A little bit of salt.
Voila, you get to do the honors.
Alrighty, if you want to just put that down.
Yeah, you get to stuff.
I don't see a problem with it.
Okay, good. So we stuff that, and then we put it in the oven. We're putting this in the oven for?
About 35 minutes.
Okay.
We'll start it at 400 degrees, and then we'll bring it down to about 325.
All right, and we have one ready to go.
We do.
Let's take it out. Let's show them.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, look at that. Ah, that's gorgeous.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what we want. Absolutely beautiful. You're going to cut this for me because I want to see.
You bet.
Because at the end of the day, I want to see what it looks like inside.
Okay. So we'll just separate the legs.
Okay.
You want to just cut into the thigh.
Okay.
On both sides.
Okay.
And then we like to separate the thigh joint, so now it's nice and stable.
Okay.
So if you just go down the breastbone, soft slices.
Right.
You get a nice breast.
Ooh, that's so juicy.
And then I'll just take one of these legs off for you.
Okay.
Okay, so here's half of your game hen.
Okay.
It's enough for one nice order.
All right.
And we'll just scoop out a little bit of this stuffing.
Oh, look at that.
It's really rich with the juices from the game hen.
Now, in this stuffing, you brought it out. There's a few herbs in here.
Yeah, we like to put a little sage and parsley in as well.
Okay, and that's also done on the stovetop.
That's right, right at the end. Right before you stuff the bird, you want to put the herbs in.
An easy dish for you to do for tonight. Thank you, Michael. It is terrific.
Thanks.
Fun and easy to do.
Yep.
And nice and fresh.
I'm Caroline Van Newton, and welcome to my California Heartland. Today I'm planting herbs in my garden, and we have garlic chivas and peppermint and sweet basil. We just use that because I love the smell of it. When I'm planting herbs, I cultivate the soil so it's easier for the roots to get nutrition. That herb garden, we use all of that stuff in the kitchen, but I also have a flower garden that we're using to help decorate the kitchen because all the flowers are blooming. And so right now, I'm planting some flowers. The most important thing a plant, flower, tree, bush, whatever you're planting is water and lots of sunlight to produce photosynthesis. When I'm frowning, I just look at a flower and it makes me smile because I love just watching things grow. Thank you for coming to my California Heartland. Bye.
Working with cows on a dairy farm every day may not seem like the most glamorous of jobs. But this 26-year-old begs to differ. In fact, she left a high-profile journalism job for a gig on a cheese farm. Meet Mandy Johnston, an up-and-coming artisan cheesemaker who traded her magazine editor byline for a new one at the Pedroso Dairy and Cheese Company. It's her family's farm.
Right now, I probably thought that I would be maybe, a higher level in a magazine somewhere, being an editor somewhere. I don't know if it would be in California or maybe New York. So coming back to be an unstable, farmer, cheesemaker was a little different.
But when Mandy's mom, the original family cheesemaker, decided to go back to teaching, and her dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer, her calling became clear. Mandy and her boyfriend John decided to step in and keep the dairy alive.
I just needed to find my own way back here. I don't want to say it was up to fate, but it sure feels like I had been primed for this, for coming back, and I just didn't know it until I got here.
Coming back didn't take much convincing. Just the thought of selling the farm, Mandy and John were on board.
I didn't think Mandy would come back and work on the farm, because we had mentioned it to her before and she just kind of blew us off. And then when we got to thinking about possibly retiring, she said, no, you can't do that. I want to take over.
I never thought that I would be the family's cheesemaker.
It was so out of my world to think that I would be milking cows and making cheese and talking about what my soil content was and how the cows were grazing and how much they were producing. I love it.
And 3 years later, the family is producing nearly 18,000 pounds of cheese each year.
So this is my favorite part. My mom calls it herding the curd.
The Pedroso Dairy produces several different varieties of cheese that sell in local stores and farmers markets.
Have you had our cheese before?
I don't know. I guess I haven't.
Okay, well, this is our Northern Gold. It's a raw cow's milk cheese we make on our dairy. We make about 9 varieties of cheese, but they all start with the basic Northern Gold recipes. Just an old world style, kind of a mix between a Gouda and a cheddar. And then we have a smaller wheel that's a variety of the Northern Gold, but it's a 2-pound wheel. So that's called Blondie's Best, and that's named after my first cow. And those 2-pound wheels sometimes we'll take and soak in red wine. That's called Tipsy Cow. The one we soak in beer, Sierra Nevada Stout, is called Stout Cow. And then I make one kind of seasonally that I soak in sparkling rosé, and that's called Bubbly Cow.
But it's not just wine and beer that make this cheese stand out. It's the family collaboration, happy cows, and a love for what they do.
It's just really important that we keep a herd of cows that's small enough that can sustain off of the land, where we don't have to bring in a lot of extra feed just to be able to keep them producing.
The pasture and the grass will definitely influence the cheese. I mean, it's probably the most influential part of the cheese, because what the cows eat, it's going to give the cheese the flavor that it has.
I think the way that our cows live, the life that they have, absolutely corresponds to the value of our cheese.
It's the passion for their cheese and new lifestyle that makes this dynamic duo successful dairy farmers.
My life's changed in a lot of ways since I came back. I think I'm just so excited about where this can all go. I mean, I wouldn't be so driven if it wasn't something that I totally believed in.
I could never go back to another kind of lifestyle. This is, I think, what I'm supposed to be doing.
Clearly, this creative young couple met their match and are now ready to make some waves in cheese making. And after a long day, knee-deep in curds and whey, Mandy's still enthusiastic.
My favorite part about being a cheesemaker is being able to say that I'm a cheesemaker. There's not many people who can say that, and you know, we can go out to eat and, or you know, someone will say, well, what do you do? And they would never expect for you to come back with, well, I'm a cheesemaker.
Someday, maybe she'll write about it or publish her own magazine about the industry. But for now, she's happy with the headline, Journalist Turns Cheesemaker.
That's kind of fun. It's a neat little title to have.
I'm here with the Dairy Council of California, and this is my mobile dairy classroom. The tradition started in the 1930s by two dairymen, and they started taking cows around to schools because they realized then that kids that live in urban areas have no idea where milk comes from. Let's see if she's awake. They get a big kick first out of seeing the cow. Most of them have never seen a cow in their life, especially up this close.
It was exciting. The color, and when it was looking around, it was shaking a little.
I learned that how to squeeze the milk out. The cowboy, I think he said, just grab a thumb and just do one by one like that.
You can make a lot of stuff with milk, like cheese and yogurt, ice cream, and different kind of stuff.
Why do kids need to know this? Because so they realize that food doesn't come from the grocery store, that there's actual people helping animals produce their food, you know, that it doesn't just show up in the grocery store magically, and what an important role it plays in their nutrition. And then at the end they get a petted calf, and that's something special.
Pack your bags and grab your boots. It's time to hit the road with the Ag Traveler.
San Francisco is one of the world's top tourist destinations. But while you may go for the bright lights big city, why not green up your trip by adding a few attractions Mother Nature wants added to your itinerary? Walking the city's sidewalks doesn't have to be all about concrete, steel, and glass. There are plenty of rooftop gardens waiting for you to explore, and finding them can be a fun adventure.
You're probably wondering, first of all, why you've never seen these before. They are hidden, and nobody knows that they're even here.
An architectural walking tour called My Favorite City Tours brings you toe-to-toe with San Francisco's unique urban horticultural scene.
These are called POPOs, privately owned public open parks. Very much a contradiction of being private and public, but they're here due to a San Francisco zoning law that says anytime there is any new construction, any new remodeling or addition to a building, you need to provide something back to the public in terms of open space. Now, part of that mandate, though, is that, and why they're hidden, is because they don't have to market them.
I never would have imagined that there's all this space to kind of just enjoy and relax within this bustling downtown area.
These gardens are a great place to enjoy lunch, relax a bit, or even get philosophical.
Everything is connected, and that by honoring and recognizing the nature and the growth and the plants, that you're honoring yourself.
We're also busy just running around right in front of us we have these little treasures that we can discover. We just stop for a minute and look and take it all in.
The 2-hour walking tour costs $20 and covers 1 mile of city blocks packed with plants and places you'll never forget.
And for our next stop on San Francisco's Ag Tour, behind that fog over there, a famous rock.
Just a quick boat ride brings you to one of San Francisco's most beautiful and unexpected gardens. The crowds come to Alcatraz to see the prison, especially the cell block that housed federal prisoners like Al Capone. Quite a stark contrast to this, the historic gardens of Alcatraz. Which are being restored by volunteers of the Garden Conservancy after 30 years of neglect.
Well, just a couple years ago, before the restoration from the Garden Conservancy, it didn't have the cultural look that it should have had from the 1850s, where everything was very well tended by the officers and their families.
As Rich Weideman tells us, the Rocks Gardens actually date back to the Civil War era, when Alcatraz was first used as an army fort. From succulents to calla lilies, artichokes, and roses, every plant here exists due to human intervention.
This restoration has transformed Alcatraz. Looking at the gardens now, they almost look like they did over 100 years ago.
It's a one-of-a-kind garden tour you'll remember for life.
From one famous San Francisco landmark to another, a place where you can get farm fresh food right in the city.
This is the newly refurbished Ferry Building. Here you'll find California's agriculture proudly showcased. You can sample and buy the freshest California produce, olive oil, caviar, even fungi.
We grow 8 varieties at our farm, but the store sees somewhere close to 70 to 80 varieties.
I just love the ferry building, you know, everything is local and fresh, and you gotta support that.
Really good.
San Francisco, it's a big, bustling city, but if you plan your visit right, it really starts to grow on you.
Everyone's a farmer when it comes to their own backyard. Try these tips for doing it homegrown.
You know, I can't think of a better investment for your home, your pocketbook, and your family's health than planting a tree. If you're thinking of a home improvement project to improve the resale value of your house, well, before you start remodeling that bathroom or the kitchen, consider this. For every tree you put in your front yard, the value of your home just went up $500. In fact, a well-maintained landscape with full-grown shade trees can add as much as 7% to the value of your property. And if you want to save money in the meantime, think about this. Planting shade trees on the west side and south side of your house can cut your cooling costs by as much as 40%. And as far as the health of your family goes, what's better than healthy eating from a fruit tree? At the nursery, look for the healthiest tree possible in the smallest container possible. Take a look at the trunk. Make sure there are no wounds along the trunk line. Make sure that's healthy. Check the leaves. Check the underside of the leaves for insect problems, or look for things like this, which would indicate overwatering or possibly pest infestations or disease infestations if you see spotting on the leaves. Again, you'd want to bypass a tree like that. Also, check the color of the leaf. Make sure it's a healthy green. So when you go shopping, you're looking for healthy green leaves, a good healthy trunk, and a root system that isn't girdling the root ball. And this orange tree, it looks like a winner. Well, we've picked the healthiest fruit tree we found at the nursery, and now we're going to plant it. But the key is putting it in the right place. This citrus, a Caracara orange, likes full sun. Not a problem here. We can start spreading out the roots. So just gently with your fingers, spread the roots out around the pedestal to give the roots a chance to spread out. Roots don't grow down, they grow out. All we're going to backfill with is the native soil. 3 more things I want you to do. If the stake is on a tree when you bought it, remove that single nursery stake, remove it. If the tree can't stand up on its own, then put in 2 more stakes on either side of the tree, about 8 inches apart. And you only need to stake the tree for about a year. It should stand on its own after that. And you only need stakes if the tree can't stand by itself. You're going to add an irrigation system to it. And finally, you're going to add mulch. To wrap up our tree planting, we're going to fertilize it with a liquid fertilizer around the base of the tree, and we're going to protect the trunk of the tree with whitewash. Give it a good coating. Trees can do it all. They add value to your home, they lower your electrical costs, and provides food for your family. Trees can really do it all. Plant one today.
That's California Heartland. For more information on any of these stories, go to californiaheartland.org. I'm Chris Burrows. We'll see you next time.
You're 5'2". All right, we'll take the questions at the end, okay?
To order a copy of this show, visit us online or call 1-888-814-3923. The cost is $14.95 plus shipping. California Heartland is made possible by the James G. Boswell Foundation, committed to sharing the stories and successes of California growers. Bank of America, Bank of Opportunity.
Funding provided in part by the California Farm Bureau Federation, proud publishers of California Country magazine. More information is available at californiacountry.org. And by the Almond Board of California. California almonds, loved around the world, grown in California's heartland. And by Real California Milk. This seal ensures your favorite dairy brands are made exclusively with Real California Milk. More information at realcaliforniamilk.com.